Alright, what's up guys? So I haven't really done an update on the hammer recently because I was having problems with this primer that I've been using, the metallic finish. I sprayed on it a bunch, let it dry for a while, and it didn't dry. Like, it kept coming off. If I would touch it, it would leave a smudge. If I would touch it with my nail, it would leave a line on the actual piece. So I actually just wrapped it up in a plastic bag. But you can see it's all shiny under there. A majority of it is shiny under there. I am gonna have to go over this piece. Oh, sorry. I am gonna have to go over this piece again once, and then I'm gonna have to I'll have to go over this side. Once I'm done, I'm gonna spray this whole piece up here with the espresso brown, because that's the color of the hammer. I'm assuming it is, because then it also matches with the belt that I'm gonna be attaching to the handle. But I'm gonna spray this so it dries, and then after that, I'll take this bag off and I will touch up the hammer piece itself. If you look inside the bag, turn you guys, sorry. If you look inside the bag, you'll notice this blue right here. This is just a microfiber cloth. The reason why I'm using that is because every time I sit this hammer down, I think it's just the wrong kind of paint can that I grabbed, or I'm using for the chrome. This one, because it's supposed to be clear. This is what it comes off with, but if I touch it, it starts to come off and leave marks and everything. So I don't think it's actually sticking to the hammer, but I've been trying multiple times and it hasn't really changed the outcome for it. So I'm leaving this microfiber cloth with this because it adds a little bit of, like, not scuffs, but like tiny little dots. So we're kind of, so it looks like it has wear into it, so it looks like it's been being used. But I'm going to make a base. I don't know if I'm gonna have it 3D printed or if I'm just gonna do a actually I can turn this on, I forgot about that. Right there. I make a base with this hidden inside of it, like rocks, so the hammer just sits on the rocks, like how in one of the episodes of Thor, I think it was the second one or movie of it, it was when he got revoked by being Thor, he got the hammer taken away. So I'm gonna leave it something similar to that, where it's in that rock statue type thing. But other than this one, the reason why this side I have to touch up is because every time I had it on this, like I'd leave it, I'd spray, so say this is not on its side, on right here, I sprayed all this, let it sit for a while. I think I let it sit for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and it didn't dry. Like, it just kept coming off. So then I flipped it, did the other side, and as soon as I picked it up, it made the mark that it took off smudges and made pieces missing on it. So then I used a microfiber cloth, didn't do it, so like this side, it has like a ripply detail texture type to it, and it didn't really, it kind of looked good. So I'm gonna be doing the same thing for this side. After I'm done this piece, I'm going to spray paint this silver, and once it's all dried, then I'm just gonna call it done on that. But what I'm going to be doing is this whole piece. I think I'm gonna tape all this off, actually. This whole piece. I'm gonna do this whole piece, this espresso color, and then once that's done, then I'll go over with tape and I'll tape up every single one of these links right here. All right here will be taped, and then I'll go over this with the silver and do that. Once that's all done, I'll attach the handle piece that goes through this little loop, and I'll just leave it as that, and you'll see how it comes out. So as you can see, I taped it up pretty good. What I did is I taped all this piece, put a piece of tape straight down the middle right here, covered this, and then I just tucked it underneath, and then I cut all of the extra piece off with my box cutter, and then I used this little needle type tool that I got at dollar store, and I just used it to peel off the pieces that I couldn't get, and then I also used it to tuck any pieces up underneath the ledge if I couldn't reach it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put at least a first coat of the espresso on this whole piece, and then if I need to later on in the future, I can touch up, and or not in the future, but like after I'm done doing a couple coats, to touch up anything if I need to. When you are spray painting, make sure you have some kind of ventilation getting all the fumes out, which I do. I have my spray booth. I'm just gonna plug the fan in right now and make sure, even though I have that, make sure you're using some kind of face protection, which I'm using a mask. And if you are outside, then you really don't need to, but you can still use it. But make sure you have some kind of safety measures when you're doing, because the chemicals and the smells and fumes and everything won't do anything to you right away, but over time it will. Once I get this whole handle piece, all this sprayed, I'll finish it up. I'll probably tape off the bottom down here once I take this bag off, and I'll put paper over it just so I can get any closer into there if I need to. Only reason why I use the bag is just so it covers it entirely, so if I did miss anything. The reason why I taped up this up here is because this is just all one color. This, I don't know how it's gonna come out, but we'll find out. Alright, so the last place I left off is I just sprayed the handle, and it is done. I just went through about 30 to 40 minutes, almost an hour. I used my tape, went through all these segments right here, and I used my X-Acto blade, and I just cut up underneath the ledge. So like if you're looking at it, right there at the lip, should I use this? Right here is where I used the blade to cut, so it didn't do any mark up the brown where the handle is. And it is almost all done. All I need to do is just go over a little more piece of tape just to cover up all these like little seams like right there where I missed. And then I need to cover up this piece up here, take all of this tape off, and then I can spray paint this whole handle silver, or the same silver, this one, the same one I used for this piece, to get all these rings. And then once that's done, then the hammer will be just about completely finished, and then I can go on and add this. This would just sit right in like this. I think I'm gonna glue this the toothpick is just holding it where it is gonna connect, but I think I'm gonna glue the handle to this piece so it looks like this and just looks straight up instead of just being a perfect circle. But I don't know about that yet, so all I gotta do is just touch up a little piece, which I cut up strips of the masking tape just so I can go over it. Like so. I'm just covering up that line, and I'm gonna cut off that line, the extra piece, and then I'll use that on the pieces above it. I am going to most likely have to go over the espresso brown, which is what this brown is on the handle. Probably gonna have to spray some of this to get little touch-up pieces, like if I missed anything on each of these rings, because it might get silver on it. So what I'll probably do is I'll shake this like you're supposed to. I'll probably get, not a natural cup, but it's like a measuring cup type thing, something like small, spray this into it so it has a puddle of it, and maybe get like a paintbrush and just dab it on just to get the little couple particles or spots that I missed. But that's about it. And I'm just finishing up adding the last piece. Now I have noticed that this paint, or the espresso paint, does peel off easily, kind of. But it's also, I think it might be marking up with this, and this should then, it peels off easily after that. But, yep. Alright, and I think that's it for the bottom piece at least. So I do need to go over or just around the very bottom piece because it missed a little bit. So now what I'm gonna do is take all this tape off right here, and then I'll have to tape up the brown part on the sides of it. So when I left off with you guys, I was taping up all these segments in between everything, and I just finished taping up all them stuff, all these spots, getting all the little cracks and stuff. Just took off all the paint or the tape off the top of the handle up here, and now what I'm gonna be doing is spray painting silver all this, and I am gonna have to go over this side right here because while this was drying, this paint doesn't like to stay on it 100% of the time, so it smudged a little bit here and here. Like you can kind of see it on camera compared to this side where it doesn't have any smudges. It just has like a little texture, which is this microfiber cloth. Reason is because this paint is just not sticking that well to the primer. I don't know why, but if I use it on this cloth, it does leave it like a cool texture design to it. So all I'm gonna do is spray paint the handle head all the way down this thing, the shaft, and I'm gonna touch up this, and then we'll go from there. So make sure you're using protection. I got my ventilation on, the fan in the background, or the sucking all the fumes outside, and I am wearing my mask. Alright, side of the hammer is touched up now. It looks fairly good. Now it's gonna dry for a while. Now I'm just gonna spray all the top part. So where I left off last time is when I just taped up all these segments right here. I did spray at least like 2 or 3 times to coat all these links silver. Now I'm just gonna start taking off all the tape. That's what I have. It just started. That's what I have. I'll get back to you guys when I have all of this done. Alright, so last video I was talking about how I was touching up all these little spots inside the hammer that had either the silver was dripping out like onto the brown under here, or I missed spots down here on the bottom, which I plugged up most of it. I did miss a little bit right there, but that I couldn't get into. But it's just gonna be on the shelf, and I don't think anyone's really gonna pick out all the little imperfections. Like there are some like tiny little ones like right there where I can't really fit anything in there to get. But all I gotta do right now is I'm going to be attaching this leather. It was a belt, but I cut up to size. There's only a toothpick in it just to hold the parts where it's going to be connected, and that's going to be inside there. And I'm just going to be using the Gorilla Glue or epoxy, this stuff right here. I'm going to be using that and to get this together, and then also glue it inside the handle itself inside here. So now I'm just going to tilt the hammer to its side so it's a little bit easier for me to work with and so you guys can see. And what I'm just going to do is I'm going to dip some right in here, put this to it like that, but while it's through the loop, and then I'll put some inside the handle itself down here so it could get in there as well. And now I'm going to grab I don't have a rubber band next to me, I just have tape. I'm just going to tape the 2 pieces together like so, just to hold it together. I'm gonna sit this up a little bit closer, and now I am just gonna be putting some of the glue inside there. I'm trying to at least. I'm just gonna let it sit like that for a little while, just so it can
glue all up there and let it all dry, and then I'll come back later on today, or maybe even tomorrow, and check up on it, see if it glued in perfect, if it glued in good, or if I still need to work with it. All the way up to the handle. And now I am working on a base for this. I do have it kind of done. If you guys want to see how I built it, just put that in comments and I will make a video and describe what I did, how I did it, and show all the stuff that I used in the process for making it. And I'd like to ask you guys, as always, to like, subscribe, and comment, and leave any comments down if you want me to do a certain project next, or if there's something I can do better or change for a different outcome, or in any suggestions at all. As always, thank you and have a good day.